This was a one-match show. The rest of it was probably some of the most disappointing NXT I've seen in a long time. But to be fair, at least it wasn't dick druids. Let's talk about NXT. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your September 5th NXT review. I'm not going to do very much house cleaning tonight. I will say, right after this video, I am going to be doing my video for the first episode of this year's Mae Young Classic. Please stay tuned for that. I'm going to get into the show because it's going to be a long night of recording for me, is it not? The show started off with Cassius Ohno versus Kona Reeves. I didn't write down anything about this match. I don't care. Ohno beats Reeves. Why? Yes, Reeves is annoying. He's a great heel. And I've always been calling him the Kona Don't Call Me Rock Reeves. But he's good annoying. He's like Miz annoying. Like, he owns the character, and it's just really, really good. And I said it on Twitter, and immediately, like, 5 or 6 people liked it, retweeted it, whatever, which, you know, thank you for that, as always. NXT, we love you. Stop trying to make Cassius Ohno happen. It's not gonna happen. Afterwards, Cassius Ohno, who just won a match and sort of looks like a lost dad looking for his kid at soccer practice, cuts a promo about how, you know, he came back with all this, I don't even know, I didn't even write anything down, that's why I'm sort of spitballing this right now. Sort of cuts this promo about like how he came back with so much fanfare and then it faded because there's always a new thing. So he's going to be the welcoming committee. Rah, rah, rah. We don't like new people. You know, you guys should still be looking at me. Complain, complain, complain. Please look at me. Please. I'm still relevant. I promise. That was the Cassius Ohno promo, and it was pretty bullshit. But what we got next was not bullshit. It was the debut of the Forgotten Sons taking on the Street Profits. The Forgotten Sons are Steve Cutler, Wesley Blake, and Jackson Riker. And Jackson Riker is, I guess, the new name of the guy formerly known in TNA as Gunner. He's also not wrestling. The two other guys, Blake and Cutler, were really good in this match. We're going to talk about in a second. They have the matching, like, tag team attire, ensemble, whatever Jackson Riker had. Very, very different attire, and he was on the outside anyway, so is he their manager? I don't really know. I liked Gunner in TNA back when I was watching TNA. I heard rumors a long-ass time ago that he was going to be coming to NXT and that he was going to have a faction. I saw photos from a house show a long-ass time ago where they had... what's her name? The lady of NXT. I can't even think of her name right now because it's bullshit. She's got the women's right finisher and it's fucking shit. But they totally changed her gimmick, and apparently on the house show she was with them. So anything that got me away from that was good. But Wesley Blake, in all fairness, you guys know how I felt about the Blake and Murphy tag team. He looks pretty good here from what I can see, and Murphy, when I was reviewing 205 Live, you could say I really like the direction he goes there. So these guys are obviously both talented. I just didn't like the tag team that they were in at the time, and they were dragging down Alexa Bliss. One of the few missteps of early NXT, if you ask me. In my opinion, I don't think you have, because this is me talking into the camera. This is a one-way conversation, so you guys technically aren't asking me anything, are you? Blake and Ford start the match with an armbar by Blake, double dropkick by the Profits, and a suicide flip dive by Ford. Arm and face bar by Dawkins, keylock that turns him into the turnbuckle as you know, working on the shoulder, etc. Overhead armbar by the Profits, chops by Cutler, lariat by Blake, and a springboard knee drop. Double neckbreaker by the Sons, seated chinlock, which is really, really just wrenched in there because, you know, they're the bigger guys, etc. Apron leg drop by Blake and a double team by the Sons. Hot tag to Dawkins, who has clotheslines for everybody and drop kicks and mud hole stomps. One punch knockdown by Dawkins, a Hankman, and a Bulldog. Sorry. It's going to be a long night if I'm losing my voice already. Two guys in black show up at ringside and steal Street Profits' cup. Now, this is going to turn into one of those Jericho and the List type conversations. I like the Street Profits. I like the gimmick, you know, the party guys, whatever, and they got the solo, it used to be the red solo cups. Now it's black solo cups. I could say a whole bunch about that would get me in a lot of trouble, but I'm not going to. I like it. It's all part of the gimmick, and the gimmick is really fun. It shouldn't go to the extent of somebody stealing your paper cup causes you to lose a match. But the guys in black on the outside are obviously the Mighty. The distraction takes everybody outside. Riker gets a cheap shot on the outside. I think it was a lariat, if I'm not mistaken. Lariat to the steel grating on the outside. Back in the ring, they hit their finisher, which doesn't have a name yet, but basically one of them's got him in an inverted DDT position, and the inverted DDT goes down as the other one comes from the top and stomps him in the chest. I don't think it was done completely correctly, or I don't think it was done the way they want it to ultimately look. It's their debut. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, give it a name, I'll praise it all day long. Decent. Here's the thing. Decent debut. Nothing special. They won their debut match, but if you include the Mighty in this, it's a 5-on-2 advantage. It's not a very impressive victory. And I mean, the other two we've seen in the ring before. The one I want to see in the ring is Jackson Riker, you know, Gunner, whatever the case may be. They talk extensively about his military background while the match is going on. I really thought somebody was going to let the Gunner name slip at some point, but they didn't. So the one guy that we haven't yet seen fight in NXT also did not fight in NXT tonight. But the guys, the other two, Cutler and Blake, they look good. Blake looks better than he did in the Blake and Murphy combination. It's all good. There's nothing bad about it, and I'm going to step on my own toes here. There's nothing bad about this. It's good, but it's just good, and it's there, and it happened, and it's on the shelf now. There's nothing to grasp onto yet, other than the Street Profits were made to look like idiots chasing a paper cup up the rampway. I just... Cassius Ohno squashing actually talented guys, and a very underwhelming debut is not a good way to start the show, is it? You know what else isn't good? I said it, and I've been saying it week after week after week. Fuck this William Regal investigation of the Aleister Black assault. And I will say it before, like I said in the previous. NXT caters to the smart markiest of smart fans. I mean, not the smart marks that are totally forgiving Joey Ryan's inflatable dick druids from this past weekend, but we can get to that at another date. But those type of fans know that Aleister Black was taken out of the match at TakeOver because he has a legitimate injury. The assault, the attack angle is insulting to the intelligence of people you know are on the dirt sheets, you know are on the websites, and know the legitimate story. I don't get it, I hate it, and it's corny and it's cliche as hell. It would work on Raw, it would work on SmackDown, because that's what I've come to expect from Raw and SmackDown. But, you know, R-Truth was in the main event on SmackDown. Just let me put that one out there. But you've got Regal in the back, and they're interviewing Heavy Machinery, and Otis Dozovic says he's here to confess. He's the one that clogged the toilet at the Performance Center. And then he goes into a very detailed diatribe about his own digestive system, which is wonderful. I guess Tucker said that the only person they saw lurking around when they were taking the video of the Aleister Black attack was Ciampa was hiding in the bushes, so they're pointing the finger basically at Tommaso Ciampa, which makes sense. We see highlights from the Undisputed Era versus Ricochet and Pete Dunne from last week. Ricochet and Dunne are shown backstage. They're arguing they're going to have a champion versus champion match in 2 weeks. That's a phenomenal announcement. But that is not happening this week. So, phenomenal announcement is one of the best things that happened on this show. And it's going to happen in 2 weeks. It's not something that happened tonight. So, while it is an awesome announcement, I'm not going to let it deter me from the fact that other than the main event, this was a pretty shit NXT. I'm sorry, guys. I have to... We see a War Raiders package and promo, and it's sort of one of those where they combine the two. It's a package on everything they've done to Undisputed Era, and they're cutting their promo over it. I always say WWE does great with the video packages, etc. This was not one of their better ones. Kairi Sane basically showing back up to say, hey, I'm the champion now. Took on Trish Adora. So, jobber. Basically... take Shuri from Black Panther and give her one of the old outfits from the Nation of Domination days, seeing as everybody wants to talk about Nation of Domination this week. And she's just there to be the person that she's facing while the commentators talk about her win at TakeOver, which is fine, but please, you know, acknowledge that this is not anything. And she had the big, tall hair. If you hit a DDT on her, would it even hurt? I'm just putting that one out there. Kairi Sane came out, and she referred a lot to the NXT Women's Championship as her treasure, the buried treasure that she's looking for or whatever, and they use that metaphor a whole lot because of the whole pirate thing. So when she came out, there was a podium in the rampway. It had a treasure chest in it, and in the treasure chest was the title belt. She threw it over her shoulder, and then she was throwing treasure out to the crowd, like fake coins and shit like that. If this is the one-time... if this is a one-time gimmick, and this is just to say, hey, I was looking for my treasure and I finally found it, whatever. If they start doing this as part of her entrance every week, it can go fuck itself real quick. We also hear from the commentators that Kairi Sane is in fact going to defend her title at Evolution, which we kind of already knew, but it's nice to have confirmed on the show. Apparently all 4 women's titles, or 4, depending on how you want to count it. I count it as 5. Side note, talking about the Evolution pay-per-view, I talk about the title matches as 5 title matches at Evolution, because you've got the Mae Young Classic final, you've got the NXT UK Women's title, which has already been decided, which we're going to get to much later. You've got the NXT Women's title, you've got Raw, you've got SmackDown, and it's 5 titles, if you ask me. I'm just putting it out there. Back elbow by Adora to start the match, and a takedown by Sane. Axe kick by Sane, neckbreaker. And then she locks in the Brock lock, which is weird because the chick that she was facing was a lot bigger than her and got the first shot into her at the beginning of the match. She shouldn't be able to carry somebody that heavy around her little tiny neck, but whatever. I like Kairi Sane. Don't say I don't like Kairi Sane, but she's got a little tiny neck and you shouldn't be able to carry somebody twice your size with your neck. That's not safe. Double stomp by Sane, forearms by Adora. Back fist by Sane, and the sliding D and the insane elbow get the win for Sane. The sliding D is a name for a wrestling maneuver that is begging to have jokes made about it. I'm not going to do it. I'm just saying NXT needs to think about calling that sliding elbow something else. Baszler comes out, knocks over the treasure chest, because you just would, wouldn't you? Enjoy this fantasy while you can, because I'm going to have my hands back on that title shortly. Baszler comes in, mauls Sane because he's just had a big, harrowing match. Sane sort of recovers, hits her with the interceptor, and that's the end of your segment. Again, it's weird. It's what I just said about this Adora girl. The spear is effective. I get it. The spear works on everybody of all sizes. Kairi Sane's tiny. The spear on Baszler looks funny. It doesn't make Kairi Sane look bad. It makes Baszler and all her badassness and the way they present, because they present Baszler so fucking well. When she sells the spear, it's just We had a video package in the back, and it was just sort of a, why am I beeping? Why is this a thing? Video package from Tommaso Ciampa that he's submitted from his cell phone, obviously. The reason I haven't been on the show in weeks is I have no #1 contender. I got rid of Black, I got rid of Gargano, which is it's a weird thing to say because Gargano's in the main event tonight. I don't care about anybody's opinion. That's why I'm recording this backstage. I'm not here to be your voice of the voiceless, which you know was scripted by Triple H. I have no interest in leading all you sheep. I know that you all listen to me. Some of you even hear me. Best line of the whole promo, and just remember, I am your NXT champion. Now, once again, this was a pre-recorded video package. It was awesome, but this was not part of the show. I don't count this as part of the show, and that's why it will not save the show from the shitty way that I look upon it tonight. William Regal is in the back with Lars Sullivan. Asks Sullivan if he attacked Black. Hey, you know, if I had attacked Black, I would have been standing over him and I wouldn't have been done by the time you got there, etc., etc., etc. William Regal says, hey, you got a match next week with the guy you destroyed last week. He's going to take on Raul Mendoza. So, we already know, for next week, Lars Sullivan is going to eat Raul Mendoza's lunch. Awesome. The investigation is so shit, guys. I know. This is NXT. This is my brand. This is the brand that I choose to review. But this episode was so shit. I'm just putting it out there. You know what wasn't shit, though? You know what basically resurrected this whole show? This show still gets like an 8 out of 10 for me. And all 8 of those 8 points come from the main event. And just the rest of it is just, it's just shit. Velveteen Dream versus Johnny Gargano after the promos that they had last week. You know, Velveteen Dream calling him Johnny Loser. He actually came out in a modified Johnny Wrestling t-shirt. It's actually the one that I have kicking around here somewhere. It's the one that says the whole shebang across the bottom. But basically, wrestling has been crossed out. And I think it said Johnny Loser. Not only that, but he had an elbow pad, which was a crying version of the Johnny Gargano icon face, which I thought was really good. Headlock by Dream to start, and an armbar and a snapmare takedown. Forearm shot by Gargano, front face lock and a takedown. Headlock by Dream, another forearm by Gargano, and Gargano starts laying in the mud hole stomps. And right from the beginning, they start talking about, you know, this new transformed. I wish For a second, I wish that the Broken Hardys thing didn't exist, because I guarantee you, if that didn't exist, they would be, sorry, they would be calling this broken Johnny Gargano, or something along those lines. Rolling spear by Dream, which is cool. He sort of hit him with a spear, and then they both rolled through it. I don't know why, because it did look silly. I went back and I rewatched it. It did look silly, but at the time, the first time I saw it, it looked really, really good. Single leg baseball slide by Gargano to the outside. Dream eats the apron face first and then eats the guardrail face first. I can read my writing, I swear. Hangman by Dream working the midsection, works in with a mud hole stomp. Choke on the ropes by Dream. Both men trade a sick amount of chops. Hard Irish whip and a neck breaker by Dream. Orton stomp by Dream, just going around stomping all the joints and all that sort of thing. Inverted Bronco Buster. When I say inverted, Johnny Gargano face down on the bottom turnbuckle when he eats the Bronco Buster. That was... It always makes me worry about people's throats when you do that. I don't like... I know you should be worried most about like them actually breaking their neck, but I think about the impact, and I think about the impact being right here, and it's just... Lariat DDT by Gargano. Boot and a top rope head scissor. Enziguri slingshot spear by Gargano and some chops. Super kick off the apron by Gargano and a rolling neck breaker from the apron to the floor. And he misses. Dream sells the neckbreaker perfectly, but when Gargano lands, he lands about this far away from landing on the bottom corner of the steps. So it's like, They trade punches on the apron. There's a boot by Dream. Dream tosses Gargano over the step. Dream works on the leg, and it's cool because he goes to work on the leg like it's the beginning of a match. If you can imagine somebody like Ric Flair, Bret Hart, etc., somebody that has a leg submission maneuver, and right from the beginning, right from the get-go of a match, they would start working on that leg. He starts working on the leg at this point in the match, and it almost feels like a reset button, which is good. Enziguri by Gargano. The slingshot spear is blocked by a boot by Dream. Suicide dive by Gargano. Gargano locks in the Gargano escape on the ramp. He almost slips into that, I'd rather hurt you on the ramp in this submission hold than win the match, and then he sure shakes it off, goes back into the ring. Dream is trapped in the ropes and gets a super kick to the face by Gargano. Gargano drags him to the apron. Gargano thinks about doing the Orton-style suspended DDT to the floor, and then the referee pleads with him not to do it. There's a kid in the front row with a Johnny Gargano sign, and he's all hopeful and shit. Definitely a plant, but whatever. He thinks better of it. He goes into the ring, and he gets himself all angry again. Velveteen Dream, over and over and over again from his knees, screaming Johnny failure at Johnny Gargano, and finally he pulls down the knee pad, exposes the kneecap, goes to do the running knee, misses, gets locked in the Dream Valley Driver. Velveteen Dream gets the win. Jesus Christ, this could have been on a pay-per-view. This match had the misfortune of being part of a very, very shit episode of NXT. And you guys that have known me for a long time know how much I don't say that about NXT. But seriously, stop trying to push. Oh no, it's not going to happen. Don't bury a guy like Kona Reeve, who's just starting to get his character over. Don't put shitty gimmicks on Kairi Sane. I'm going to let it go. I'm letting it go for this week because I think it was just to announce, hey, I finally got my treasure, like I said before. If that's a one-time thing, totally cool. If that becomes part of her entrance going forward, it's going to get cheesy as fuck real quick. Forgotten Sons looked decent in the ring, but as a whole looked like a very, very weak debut. This show, everybody involved in the writing and the performing of this show needs to get down on their hands and knees. Thank Johnny Gargano, thank Velveteen Dream, because their match saved this show. The rest of this show didn't deserve this main event. That's what I'm saying, and I know, I hate saying that, but it's true. Johnny Gargano leaving the match all despondent, all, sort of disconnected from the crowd, disconnected from where he is in the moment, wanders out sideways, not up the ramp, through the crowd, and the show goes off the air with him looking sort of sideways into the crowd as they have a dueling Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Failure chant. This match could have been the show. If this match had been an Iron Man match and just been the whole hour, I would have been fine with that. The rest of the crap that happened on this show tonight does not deserve to be on NXT. Anyways, now that I'm done ranting about that, please stay tuned for the Mae Young Classic video that I'm going to be doing momentarily. But until then, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, tagging out. Bye, guys.